God. Hello, and welcome to the Vergecast.
Hold on. You're missing. There's a little bit of hair.
Oh, God.
Right
How's
there.
my... Sorry.
No. Sorry, in the back.
I just want everybody to feel at home. Hi, I'm Nilay Patel from The Verge. This is the Vergecast. I'm joined by some people.
I'm Ross Miller.
I'm Paul Miller.
No relation.
Did you really just bone your own name to open the show?
He said Ross Miller. I was like, wait, I'm Miller. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
We can share the last name.
I'm Paul Miller.
Good. I'm proud of you. So obviously this is the Vergecast. Josh isn't here today or this week.
He's having minor heart surgery, but
Well,
he had it. He's doing well.
They installed a heart.
Yeah.
He's
That cold wreckage.
He's getting used to it. No, Josh is fine. He's just resting this week. So we're taking over.
Yep.
Like we do. These two are going to sort out their name issues.
Right.
Which one are you?
Paul Miller.
Look, if you want, do you want the Miller name? You can have it. I'll just
Pop quiz hot shot. Which one are you?
Look, I don't have my name or birth date stored in my L2 cache, and I've tried for a long time, and it's never fit in there.
Okay, well, if you're wondering why Paul believes he has an L2 cache, I think Paul's wondering the same thing. But if you're curious about what on earth you're listening to, this is the Vergecast, where we discuss...
If you don't know it's the Vergecast, how did you...
Pretty much everything. Technology, culture. We say culture, but it's just a wide spectrum of crazy.
Because when we say culture twice, we really mean it.
Yeah, double culture.
Double culture.
Yeah, that's my
The
album.
culture of culture.
Yeah, the culture of making culture.
That is right.
The making of culture. Vultures. So there's a lot going on this week. There's a bunch of news, and then we had a week of programming on the site about the future of television.
Yes.
And we're going to take some calls later. I actually really want to talk to the world about how they watch TV, because I think the way we all watch TV is insane.
Yep.
So we're going to do that a little bit later. But let's go through the news first.
All right. First off, there's one big story this week. I mean, there's a lot of minor things, but the one big thing that happened was Steven Sinofsky. The now ex-Windows 8 head is gone. Abruptly left.
Josh's mortal enemy.
Josh's mortal enemy. Which
that's
is not
not
Microsoft.
true.
It's actually Steven Sinofsky.
They actually made up. I was there when it happened. It was nice. Steven was wearing a blue sweater. So Steven Sinofsky has left Microsoft. It's like 2 weeks after Scott Forestall. A week after Windows 8 launched. A few weeks after Scott Forestall left Apple. And the stories are almost exactly the same. Like to the point where tech journalists on Twitter were joking that they had just done a find and replace on their Forestall story and published a Sinofsky story because both of them were jerks. But it's basically the story. They were both jerks. So Sinofsky in particular was said that he was fighting with Ballmer for more control over Windows. He wanted Windows to obviously be the centerpiece of Microsoft. Ballmer wanted more integration across all of the teams at Microsoft. He didn't want to give all of control to Sinofsky. And Bill Gates, who's still, I believe, the chairman of the board at Microsoft, sided with Ballmer, which should be of no surprise to anyone. I don't know why.
This should, let's clarify. This is according to anonymous sources. We don't have really the actual story behind it. We won't for a while.
Yeah, and obviously we're digging for the story. So we will. There's a lot here from the Microsoft side. There's a lot here from I'm assuming Steven Sinofsky's side.
Right.
We're going to hear a lot more about what happened here because for both companies, I think for Apple and for Microsoft, they've now re-architected how they make things and who's in charge and how they have vision and how they think of new ideas and how they execute them. And so Steven Sinofsky was, by all accounts, a brilliant person.
Right. I mean, and let's calling them a jerk is a very non-nuanced way of putting it. Sinofsky and Forestall both had great success at many times.
They did, yeah.
They're hard-headed. They're visionaries. Not necessarily team players. I think clash of personality is the one that keeps getting thrown around.
Well,
I think they might also be mean people.
I'm sticking with jerk. But
Would
here's
you call
why.
Steve Jobs a jerk?
Yes. And
absolutely.
so here's the thing.
Me too.
And I think this is what's really interesting.
Would you call
to me,
Nilay Patel a jerk? Yes, absolutely.
But I get shit done.
A visionary jerk.
Yeah, but they got shit done too. So
we have to fire you.
you're next.
Well, the joke running around
You wouldn't
is
sign the apology.
Wouldn't sign. They know that Andy Rubin is next. Things happen in threes. So Andy Rubin, who runs Android at Apple,
Is he their jerk?
No, he's. I mean, he is
He's
a
just
human.
shy.
But he's like, I made the sidekick. What are you going to do to me?
Really? That
fire
is your
him
that's your
for-
defense?
for making
I made
sense.
the sidekick. I am invincible in mobile.
No, it's just
So-
like I've suffered enough.
The key difference for me between Sinofsky and Forestall is it felt like Forestall was going to be their idea guy, but it was kind of obvious he wasn't probably going to be their CEO. I really thought Sinofsky was
Right. So
the next
Sinofsky
CEO.
had, the reason I think there's two reasons for that. Sinofsky had this like brilliant, and they're actually very kind of different, right? So Sinofsky was the brilliant manager who things shipped on time. Windows 8, like, Vista was a disaster. They brought him in. He shipped Windows 7 on time, which everybody liked, which cleaned up the mess. And then he's like, we have to do Windows 8, and Windows 8 happened on time. This massive project to like reinvent what the company makes.
Right.
They put Surface in the mix. I don't know that all that, the Metro stuff, the touch interface stuff, the how Windows works stuff, was Steven Sinofsky. Tom was telling me Metro has been around since like 2003.
It's tough to say
Can
because
we get Tom on the phone?
I don't know if is he awake? It's UK time.
Sorry, we've had a ridiculous week at the Verge of
Right.
it's just been crazy. So we should.
I'm gonna find out.
Tom Warren.
I'm fine. I'm using this magic right here.
What is this? What?
Don't look.
Are there a
What is this
wire?
mysterious
So
computer?
The connection goes through,
Yes.
Yeah, it
The
comes
connection's
through-
going down
travels
here.
over the power line.
Ross has a USB
And then-
cable, and the
then there's a-
internet comes to it over USB.
Yes.
This is great.
Yeah, no. Tom was telling me that Metro's been around since 2003. Obviously on the Zune. It's a growing thing. It came to life on Windows Phone.
Right.
Sinofsky today, I don't remember what publication he was talking to, but he said, I wasn't trying to take over Windows Phone, which kind of directly contradicts everything we've ever heard about Windows Phone.
Yeah.
And like the history of that project. So it seems like for him, it was more about the managerial expertise, which is why he would make a good CEO.
Right. Exactly.
And the vision and the need. And when you're really good at managing a project, it seems like you want that project to eat everything because
Right.
it's all yours. But when you need a vision for a company going forward, I don't know that having one project eat everything is.
But I
all
mean, like,
good.
you do want, the thing is that if you're just a project lead, you want your project to eat everything. If
Yeah.
you're the company lead, you want your company to be integrated, which is I think
Exactly.
still what Microsoft needs, although they're getting much further along there.
Right. But the interesting thing, that's basically what we've heard that Ballmer wants to do. Let's integrate the company. He wants all the teams to work together. And
But like Sony's been saying that for as long as Howard Stringer's been alive.
yeah, but Sony is Howard Stringer has been alive for a long Stringer's gone, and it's like they're getting better at it. But Sony's like a little bit. I mean, in the sense that
They have a brand now, the one Sony.
in the sense that they just had to issue like a bunch of debt so they could fund like building image sensor factories.
Yeah.
But like that's Sony. Like Sony's like this different. Microsoft is like it's still Steve Ballmer's company. Sony's this like feudal, like literally a feudal, like a series of
Microsoft
warring
itself-
internal companies.
Arguably, Microsoft itself was that way, and they've kind of come together internally to be more unified. And like,
Right, and I think so having Windows at the center of this like planetary system, and like Sinofsky's like, I hate all these other planets should die.
Right.
I don't think that's like a workable. But what's interesting is that's what Microsoft did, and then explicitly, Apple's press release about Forestall was we want to enable collaboration amongst our teams. And it's like both of these companies, one of which was renowned for like integrated products, and one of which is like, why the hell can't you build integrated products? Are firing their like visionary architects
Of integration.
no, in the name of integration.
Yeah, but those were also the people. I mean,
Well, they wanted-
the black hole technique has been what has integrated.
Yeah.
Like Mac OS
Right.
10 works better with iOS because it's more like iOS.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I just think.
I mean, but
Same
let's be
for
clear.
Windows
Forestall and Sinofsky wanted integration. They just wanted to own it. Like they had dreams of grandeur. Like that's well documented.
What
Yeah.
I'd love to see is for both of them to start a company together.
I don't.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of that. I
And
don't,
they just argue all the time, and they never actually make anything.
Yeah.
But they'd be so sure that they're right.
right.
Who's Sinofsky's successor, and what?
That is Julie Larson-Green.
Yeah.
And
She's great.
you've met her.
I've
haven't
met
you?
her. Yeah, she's great. I met her and her husband. Her husband's like a doctor of psychology.
All right.
I don't know. We were just like hanging out.
When was this? Can you elaborate a little bit?
I don't know. We was just like after the Windows 8 consumer preview launch in Barcelona, and we like hung out.
Oh,
Yeah. Hey, cool operating system.
Chance
Oh,
encounter.
what do you do? Well, I'm a doctor. It was like very like, you know, they're like, oh yes, indeed. I also enjoy analyzing people. I don't know. I wasn't doing any of this.
Was with the hand gesture? None of this.
No, it's like this is my
This is the drink in your
imaginary,
hand.
like tumbler of cognac. Oh yes, indeed, psychology. Oh, it's fascinating. I don't know why.
And then who's supposed to be the de facto CEO? I mean,
You mean the heir apparent?
the heir apparent, because nobody. I mean, I still don't. I don't think Ballmer's been good for Microsoft. I still don't think he's been good.
Well, let's
break it down.
So I should just say, Julie Larson-Green is like great, and she's like I actually think it's great that there is, like she's so prominent now within Microsoft and the industry. I think it's like a good thing because she is very smart, and like her vision of what Windows should be is like interesting, and so I think she's the driving force behind a lot of the Windows 8 experience, and I think that she'll continue to push on that and make that better instead of being like you can do everything at once, and I think that's really important
So instead of politics and drama, she just wants to make a better product.
I mean, I think she's. We have some like interviews.
I mean, I literally know nothing about her.
So we did a profile of her. You should read. I think Sean did it.
Yeah, Sean did it.
And it's we have some older videos of her. We have some stuff that she's done, and it's all very. The way to build things is to make sure we integrate all the parts. Like it's literally the thing that they want to do, right? It's integrate all the parts.
Did you? And sorry, I zoned out for 2 seconds. Make sure Tom's getting on. Tom is getting on soon. Did you tell him like that big story I love the most is how she fixed Office?
Oh,
did you hear about that? I can't remember. It wasn't our profile. It was someone else's profile that kind of brought it up from years ago when they're first highlighting her move into Windows. She gave a presentation to Bill Gates about why we need to fix the drop-down menus in Office.
Oh, good. Oh, yeah,
the ones that he designed. Yeah.
She likes ribbons, and she's.
But I mean, she did make that happen.
Yeah, I mean, she's like an interface person. I think that's great. And then there's like more of the operating responsibility, like shifting the CFO. I mean, that's like wonky business stuff. But I think that the face of Windows is now Julie Larson-Green, and I think, again, cognac meeting.
Right.
Great husband.
What the big takeaway
there was no cognac
from this whole discussion is that Nilay met
Yeah.
This woman who now runs Windows.
That once, and in my mind, I was holding a tumbler
what you need
of
to
cognac. By the way, this is not how you hold a tumbler. I don't even know what this is.
Let's take a broader picture for a second while Tom gets on. So we now know the face of Windows, which is Julie Larson-Green.
Yeah.
We've got the face of Windows Phone, which is Joe Belfiore.
Yeah.
More or less.
Yeah.
I mean, what are the other big prominent people in Microsoft right now? We don't know heir apparent, but we do know.
Who's the face of Xbox?
I don't know. Mark Whitten, maybe. I don't. That's one of those like
Major Nelson.
It's not Major Nelson. He's a spokesperson. He's awesome.
He's my face of Xbox. It's true.
Yeah,
Master Chief. It's Master Chief running it.
Yeah. Well, no. I think that's ultimately that's the project for them is to. And this ties right into what we've been talking about with Ecosystem Week, which is you have to be in all these places. You have to give people a PC. You have to give them a tablet. You have to give them a mobile experience, and you have to deliver the content and share that experience onto a television in some way.
Right.
The Xbox is the way they do that. So in one way or another, the next Xbox has to be integrated better with Windows. And like I've been playing with Smart Glass and some of this stuff, and it's like this is not good.
You don't like Smart Glass?
I think it's the ideas are good. Right. Everything about it is clunky.
Yes. Sorry.
I mean, the idea is brilliant. I mean, it's exactly the right idea, right? There's a computer sitting under your TV. There's a computer in your hand. They should know about each other.
Yeah, actually, I do like Smart Glass, even in its current iteration. But we'll get to that with the ecosystem stuff later.
Sure.
Sorry.
Sure. I mean, it's the same way that I think like AirPlay is really good, but it's at the same time it's like this is incredibly frustrating.
Yes.
And that's just the way it works. It's like Apple made a computer that sits on your TV, and they made a computer you hold in your hand, and it's like they kind of know about each other, but it's like why does this app? Why can this app send video to my TV and this one like shut up? Just do what I want. like that's all dumb, But I think that's like the Microsoft challenge is integrating all that stuff. What's going on with Tom?
I'm working on it. Here, you talk amongst yourselves.
Are you creating Tom? Are you like coding him up?
I have two connections to the internet right here.
What else is
and I'm trying to,
like,
by the way,
I will cross the streams.
I was at Best Buy today, and I saw a USB 56K modem built by Zoom. And I feel like Zoom was doing. I think I considered a purchase of a Zoom modem.
I have a question. If somebody gave you dial-up internet access, would that be breaking your rule?
It's the internet. What do you mean?
I'm just because it's kind of it is.
It's bad internet.
What if I gave
internet.
you like 33.6K internet access?
Oh, then that's not the
Like
internet.
super slow. Like all you can do is like you can like the progressively loaded images. Like you're like I'm gonna look at this picture.
You can load like Google search results really well.
Yeah.
But then you couldn't click on anything. And
Right.
go
So it's
there.
like one more level. Like your last month, you should just be allowed to Google the search results, but never
Yeah.
go beyond them. Be like kind of toe
Yeah.
your way back into the situation.
I've been thinking about getting a landline, and that's the first step towards getting 56.
You know, I have a landline. This is like one of the, and this is yet
But
another.
Is it VoIP?
I mean, it runs over whatever
Is
my
it-
Fios
is
is,
it
but I've
triple-
never
yeah,
plugged
so
a
it's
phone
over.
into it.
Right.
It's just
but that would
there.
be
So
silly.
So wait, why do you have? Is it just cheaper?
Yeah, it's like getting cable and internet is more expensive than getting all
Right.
three.
You know, actually, I gotta say, I'm kind of excited about this, although I'm moving. But I was going home, and there's this little FiOS truck just outside my apartment. I think we're getting FiOS in the
Really?
building. I'm super excited.
You're
I'm like moving in a
you're in there.
month, but
Ha,
for a month, I may get FiOS just to feel what it's like.
it's good. It's mine's been really buggy. I mean, ever since I started writing about television, it's like Verizon's been trying to punish
Really?
me. Yeah.
Maybe when
Don't
I
like
come
it.
back to the internet, I'll just use BBS.
What's
You know, you should go from having no internet to go Kansas City and like get the super fast gigabit per second upload and download.
I don't even know what I would.
We're working on it.
you don't even know what you do anymore.
I don't even know what I would
You're
do.
like, do I read a book on this?
Man,
How do I get
could
the Wall Street
download
Journal on
books
this,
the
this piece of
Kindle, really.
junk?
I'm like trying to activate my.
Where
New
does the
Yorker,
paper come out?
My New Yorker, my New Yorker online subscription,
Yeah.
which is very difficult, by the way. If anybody's ever tried to activate a New Yorker,
Yeah.
Anyways, and then I print the
You
articles.
print it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Can I? Yeah.
So
Somebody
great.
suggested that
I'm
after
really
we do the
excited.
war on TV, we should do the war on printing.
The war on printing
Somebody tweeted
isn't
this
that?
to me.
Aren't we kind of over that?
I
Like,
was like, yeah, everybody died.
Yeah.
Can you?
we're working on Tom. We're working.
What?
on
I don't know.
I-
Like, do you have to Control Alt Delete? Like, what are you doing?
Tom Warren is a brilliant man, and it takes a long time to compile him.
Ross and Tom are in a mud right now, and they're fighting each other. If
What?
Ross wins, Tom will get on the call.
Like hours ago, you're like Tom.
if Tom wins,
Hours ago. How long do you think this Vergecast has been on?
Have you ever heard of time dilation? We're moving at the speed of light.
So technically, we were on time at 4:45, moving hours and days and
Yeah.
years in the span
When we
of
come out of
15
this,
minutes.
when we come out of this room, we'll all be they're all gonna be babies. Is that how that works?
Wait,
No.
babies or
By the
like
way,
old
they'll be
people?
really old.
Oh,
no,
they'll be
when
really
we
old.
when we come out
As
of this
babies
room,
or
be a
with
baby.
babies?
when
Oh,
we,
I will
no,
be.
have
when we
a
come out of
baby.
this
Ooh.
room, they'll all be apes.
They'll be babies.
Yeah,
and we'll be Charlton Heston.
that was a really good movie.
Guys, I seriously prefer the James Franco version. I'm sorry. Wait,
really?
no, not really. No.
Although really,
No.
James
Becky really
Franco
liked
is a
it.
prequel.
Yeah, it was Rise.
Yeah. They're making a sequel to the prequel now too.
Oh, I'm excited.
Yeah.
For sequel.
No, we're still working on it.
All right. Well, let's move on.
what-
and when
what
Tom
other
comes
news
on-
is there other
Yeah. What
than-
else is going on? When Tom
When Tom comes on, we'll
finishes
go
booting.
straight back to.
You know, I thought Windows 8 was supposed to improve wake times. All right, what's next?
That was your
I'm done. Yeah, I'm done.
Oh
I'm
wait,
not gonna
I
talk
think
anymore.
we have Tom.
We
now.
have Tom?
Oh God.
Tom. We can't stall any longer, man.
Hello, this is Tom.
Hey, so Windows.
That was your Tom
You
accent.
know those,
Tom Warren.
you know those
Hey,
tiles?
it's Tom right here.
Yeah,
it's Tom with the Verge.
I got a long. Aaron and Tom keep giving me a long
Can you
explanation.
hear me okay?
Oh,
hello, Tom.
here you are.
What's up?
Tom,
Hey.
I was remarking that Ross's posh English accent is nothing like your own. This is true. Tom and
No, I
Aaron
know.
always tell me that my fake English accent is too posh.
Your fake Indian imperialism, colonialism.
Yeah, the
accent.
one that ruled my people.
Yeah.
What?
Tom, can you hear us? Sorry, let's get back on track.
I can, yes.
Hey, so let's talk about Microsoft a little bit. What's your take on the Sinofsky situation, and what do you think of Julie Larson-Green's new leadership of Windows?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess Sinofsky is kind of a surprise given that Surface and Windows 8's only just sort of completed. But I guess in the long run, if you look at it, it kind of makes sense. I mean, he basically came in to sort of revive Windows, and
Yeah.
he's obviously shipped Windows 7, shipped Windows 8, and has put in really good processes there. But at the same time, he built up like a firewall around Windows.
Yeah.
Which is detrimental to the other divisions. So and I guess that seems to be the main reason as to why he's left or he's
Right.
gone. I mean, in terms of his replacement, I don't know if Julie is really his replacement, so to speak, because She's not the president of Windows, so she's obviously running the engineering team there.
Yeah. Is there a president of
I don't
Windows?
know. I don't know how that's going to pan out overall.
Do you need a president of Windows? I'm just asking.
Well,
I mean, like, companies they're made up hierarchies. You
Right.
can like do whatever you want.
Like, for example, like Forestall's position is gone now.
Yeah.
More or less.
I'm
It's
just-
just been divvied up.
Yeah.
Tom, I think
I mean,
the
it
real
gets-
question is, did you know that Nilay has met her before?
I believe Tom was there.
I was
joking.
No, it was
listening
Vlad
in-
was there.
It's a joke.
You mixed them. You mixed them up.
It's a callback.
And so I'm sorry that I confused you with Vlad. For the record, I do think you're more handsome than Vlad. And somewhere Vlad is
thank you.
crying.
Tom, do you
I don't
think
have as
this
many
will,
muscles.
will change the product?
It's a picture of Tom. Look at how handsome he is.
That's a good looking guy.
He does
Good, well done.
Wait, is that Tom photoshopped into like a happy bar?
No.
That's actually.
He's just well lit. Okay, Tom,
Okay.
continue.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think it kind of speaks to how Microsoft's maybe they realised now that they might be able to sell 400 million licenses of Windows 7, but in like 5 years, are they still going to be selling 400 million copies of Windows? Probably
Yeah.
not. So I think they're sort of preparing themselves for that future, where Windows is less relevant. Well, not necessarily less relevant, but just used in a different way. So
Yeah, the
people are
model
buying
of-
devices
Right.
now. They're buying,
Right.
they're not buying Windows as an OS or as a computer. They're just buying the coolest device out there.
Right.
It doesn't matter whether that's running Android, iOS, or Windows right now, because a lot of the services are cross-platform. So I think they're kind of preparing themselves for a devices and services company. And it's kind of clear from like Ballmer's message over the last sort of couple of months
yeah.
that Surface is probably going to be a key factor to how they sell these services and
Wait, but,
devices
so
in
let
the
me ask you a
future.
question. I mean, there still is a huge. What happens to Dell and HP? I mean, there still is a huge business in this world for Microsoft to sell Windows to people, right? And for those companies
Yeah.
to integrate it onto products. But no company has ever successfully competed with the companies that licenses its software to. It's never happened.
No.
How on earth are they going to manage that transition?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of also prompted by stuff that, like HP has come out and said that they're going to pull out the PC game, and they've gone back on it and stuff. So there's obviously, these companies themselves are looking at other avenues of generating revenue aside from the PC market, because, we all know what's happening to the PC market. So
Right.
I guess managing that is, there's still going to be a demand from enterprise for that PC market, but I think if these companies want to stay relevant and in the future with consumers, it's definitely moving away from that. So I guess managing it is, Microsoft's really tried to manage it in a way that they don't step on the OEM's toes. So, like they had the Windows 8 launch and they focused very much on the OEMs that day. And then the stuff they had at New York, at Times Square, they had like all the OEMs out and stuff. So I think you're going to see like a big balance there of that. Just depends. I mean, it just depends on who pulls out first, right? On the OEM side.
Tom, I have a related question to this whole idea of like trying to keep Windows, specifically Windows 8, relevant and propagating, selling the 400 million copies. A couple of news stories we've seen recently kind of show this fragmentation between 7 and 8. Like the new DirectX is Windows 8 compatible only. Xbox Music requires the latest Windows. I think some of the other software does too. I mean, is this also part of their strategy to like compel both consumers and enterprise to like update faster? Because I mean, like
Yeah.
Windows 7
Fortune
is
500. It's like Xbox Music.
yeah.
Gotta
no,
have
but
it.
I mean, like Fortune 500 is also like Windows XP. We should probably upgrade now.
Yeah, but they're all going to go to 7.
Yeah, I
they're
mean,
going to
that
sell 7
DirectX
forever
stuff.
and ever.
Yeah.
How
The
Windows
DirectX
XP
stuff,
has
I
been
think
around
they
for.
actually clarified that most of that stuff is going to be available on Windows 7 as well.
Oh, is it really?
Just not right now. But yeah, definitely for Xbox Music, they don't have like a replacement Zune desktop for,
Oh my God.
for
Can you
client.
imagine
But
being on that
they're
project at
kind of saying you
Microsoft?
still get access to the Xbox Music, per se, through the Zune client. So I
What do you
guess
do? Well, I'm
for as
the head
long
of
as
the
that sticks
replacement
around,
Zune
that'll,
client team.
that'll be the gateway there. But
I'm going to
I
just
think the
go.
biggest thing is the apps, right? Like,
Yeah.
obviously you're never going to get Windows 8 apps on Windows 7. So, and that's the big push now is to see whether these companies develop these apps and
Does there seem to be traction there?
There seems to be a little bit, but I guess it's early days, but I mean, we're starting to see stuff come out, and I think the big story for them will be getting the games on there, because that's one of the things that consumers really resonate with. You know, when they go into a store and they go to try to play a game that they know about, if it's not there, you know, it's of no interest to them.
Yeah.
So,
Well, you know, the big thing for me on both the Windows platforms, on Windows 8 and Windows Phone, is that it's just slow. Yeah. I was using Chris's Lumia 920 the other day. Yesterday. Yeah. It was yesterday. Yeah. And he was like, check out this map feature. And then I closed it and I reopened the map and the whole application had to load again. And I was like, this is dumb. And I just stood there like hectoring him by just constantly reloading maps.
But
it's the same. Like it's
developers now.
But it's the same. We have what's that giant Sony, the Tap 20.
Right.
Yeah. We have it in the office, and it's like being reviewed, and it's like every time I use it, it's like, this is kind of cool. I'm sort of enjoying this, but everything is taking a little bit too long for me.
Does it have that air hockey game?
Yeah, it's a little laggy.
It's really laggy. Yeah. It's like, it reminds me of like an HTML5 app on like
they just have to. I mean,
like the original
it's
iPhone.
It's all the ideas are there. Everything just has to get faster. And Tom, you know what, on the Surface when you shrink the icons, and it they go from being like the real life tiles to like badly rendered, like fuzzy icons, and you're like, on the real Intel Windows 8 devices, you don't notice it. You're wrong. You can definitely notice it. Like all of that has to get better. I still
don't think you notice it unless you're doing it really slowly.
Well, I mean,
I don't know.
So
it seems quite minor to me, but
it's minor.
I mean,
but
there's definitely performance.
It does show there's like an attention to detail is just lacking, you know, with a lot of the stuff in the design voice. And like it's to the point, like, why isn't this optimized? Like it's Windows 7 with additional. Like they didn't completely rewrite the kernel. Obviously, there's backwards compatibility with this.
No, I'm just saying. Look, I think Windows 8 is really and like we have this wild array of devices in our office, and it's like fun. Like I'm thoroughly enjoying PCs again, but then I'm like, this is slow. Every time I open a Windows 8 app or a modern app or a Metro modern app, I'm like, this is a little
anymore. You
slow.
can't call it Metro.
Metro.
I think the whole the like Windows RT stuff.
Yeah.
That kind of comes back to the Sinofsky approach with this, because like the Windows division really kept that stuff locked down for the Windows RT, just so that they kind of wanted to manage the message, right? So that the press wouldn't see it when it was slow and all that sort of stuff. But it makes me wonder if they managed it in a way that was so siloed that they didn't have assistance from other divisions to really optimize it. And maybe that's a factor. So it's just stuff like that. So.
We have a lot of other stuff to talk about, but so really quickly, give me your final thought. Like what's next? What's happening here?
Well, I guess from my point of view and who I've been talking to and stuff with the whole Sinofsky thing, I think he's probably leaving on his own accord. Stroke. There was obviously some disagreements there, but I think overall he's served his time in Windows. You know, he's achieved his goal of what he wanted to do with Windows, and you know, Bulmer and co are probably trying to push in a different direction now. Yeah. And I think that's really what this is about, rather than some massive bust up. So, but yeah, I mean, where's Windows heading? I don't know. Like, I'm guessing from the way they're going to do it, they're going to go to like regular updates for Windows, not every 3 years, because they have to remain competitive. And I'd expect some sort of subscription stuff to like they're doing in Xbox and Office, and it just kind of makes sense that they try and sell this in a different way.
Yeah. I mean, it's been the dream for however long, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's the only way that they're going to make money off of Windows, so to speak. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where they go with the next big release. Anyway,
I just get the feeling that Microsoft is positioning itself to react quickly to a market that they can't foresee the future of.
Yeah. Well, I think they know.
Yeah.
But in not necessarily making that future.
Well, I think it's really going to be interesting how the Xbox and you know the Xbox tablet, how those things play into Windows and stuff. I mean, really, you could tell that Bulmer wants to break down the barriers between Xbox and Windows Phone and Windows to achieve that. Because right now, you buy an app on Windows 8, and you have to buy it again on Windows Phone, which is kind of insane. You know, if you buy a game, you don't want to buy it twice. So to run across your devices. That's not how it works on other platforms, and it's not really how it should work on Windows. So I think that's going to be the most important thing, getting those three to really tie in together, because you can really see the potential right now with like Smart Glass and all the apps and stuff, but it's not there yet. So hopefully that'll be the big thing that they go towards.
So last question, and I was just thinking, because you're talking about Xbox. They lost Jay Allard, who was the visionary behind Xbox. Mm-hmm. They've lost Steven Sinofsky, who is at least partially the visionary behind Windows 8. Who's the new visionary at Microsoft? Who's in charge?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I don't know who's there. I mean, they got a few of the research guys and those sort of guys that are pretty good with the visionary stuff, but there's no like individual you could pull out now and say, you know, he's leading the company direction. I think Sinofsky really kind of led that that direction, really, albeit through Windows, but he kind of led the company-wide, you know,
I mean, everything
decision to go to Windows 8 and that style and stuff.
I mean, do you credit Sinofsky with making everything look like the Windows 8 Live Tile Metro style? Or is there someone else in there? Is there another driving either design group or force that's making that happen?
Do you think Ballmer had a meeting where he yelled at everyone that it has to be squares? I like squares.
I don't know the exacts of that, but I think to sum it up, like Sinofsky's probably a big loss for them. But he's a loss in the sense that they had that control in Windows and the engineering's up to scratch now. But it's kind of good for the other divisions that he's leaving, because now they can sort of
really they can be free. They're literally they're stumbling out into light in Redmond. Like, finally, this reign of terror.
We've heard the stories of like Korea and stuff, and all the other things that may have got canned because Ballmer, you know, really saw Windows as you know, as the baby and didn't want to kill it off. So maybe they'll be more open to different projects now. I don't know, but
we'll find out. It's interesting times. I mean, no more jerks. Get out, Paul.
I don't know who their visionary is now, though. I mean,
who's the jerk?
It's not a person I could sit here and say this person's going to lead Windows Phone and Xbox to, like, you know, the greatest ecosystem ever. I mean, I don't know. I couldn't really pull out anyone right now. But then they've got quite a lot of good people, so maybe that's good as well. I don't know.
We'll find. I mean, it's interesting that these two companies have gone from, over the course of time, have gone from Bill Gates and Steve Jobs to like these like ultra MBA manager CEOs, and then like who are like, I'm tired of jerks, and then the jerks are gone.
Well, not just jerks, the jerks and the heir apparents too.
Yeah, right.
We thought they'd be creatives that lead these
Watch
companies.
out, Andy Rubin. Watch him back.
I think they just get too powerful, but like a lot of the time they are right. Like they force a company into a certain direction, but then there's things that they don't always pick up on, and perhaps
if they're wrong,
the way that like Apple were doing it now, right? And Microsoft are. It's kind of odd how they're both going down the same sort of path. So
hey Tom, before you go though, I'm looking at the live stream chat. People want over and over again keep want to mention Stephen Batish. Thoughts of him, like where he's going now. These
people are so deep.
They are
of Microsoft.
Big on Microsoft people. They're just going to name random employees. At some
Stop
point.
naming people.
What do you think of janitor number 3?
That.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously.
Randy the janitor.
He's one of their real like scientists. You know, he's in their research side of things. So I don't think like he's a good example of a good visionary. You know, he's worked on a lot of great products coming out of Microsoft, but I don't know whether necessarily he'd be someone they put in Windows, for example.
Right. Look, the commenters are doing this thing that I see people do all the time, that I see journalists do all the time, which is like, 5 facts, and like you have like a puzzle to complete, and you're like, I'm going to use these 5 facts to complete this puzzle any damn way I can. And it's like, Microsoft has thousands of employees,
right,
and executives you've never heard of, and people they don't put on stage, and people that aren't forward facing or consumer facing, and they make decisions about who they're going to show you, but that has nothing to do with how Microsoft works. And it's like that show, like we're going to dance on stage and like zoom in and out in the big TV. Like then they all go back to Redmond and the company continues to run. And it's not like you walk into a conference room at Microsoft and they're constantly giving each other the People Hub demo.
Right, but to this point, I mean, like, you know, I would trust
Stevie B is like he's a research guy, and research guys are there for a reason, but they don't ship products. You know, they're not product guys. So
they're there to smoke weed,
and that's what Sinofsky was. He was a product
robots.
guy. You know.
But I mean, to the point, like Tom, I trust the ins and outs of Microsoft beyond just the normal journalists. But like, and if you can't tell me like who's the visionary, who's running,
no, but did you hear the sleepiness in Tom's voice when they asked him about his teach? He's like, no, he's just.
Well, yeah, okay, so
that's what it is. It's like you can't. These are not the answers.
No, these are
the
not.
Answers are like you cannot. Like literally, what you have is tea leaves in the forms of names that Microsoft has told you in the course of the past few years.
Right, but
those tea leaves have nothing to do with reality.
But we also look for people in the company. It does take driving single forces usually to make things kind of come out, to look for the long-term strategy. It's not Ballmer that's making the 5-year, 10-year creativity initiative here. Like we always talk about Apple, like Johnny Ive.
I'm saying, but there's like secret people.
Okay.
Like you know what I mean? Like
Tom, find these secret people now.
Go, Tom.
Okay, I'm on it.
Kill them. Wait, no, don't kill them. Don't do the opposite of killing them.
What's the opposite of killing them? Give them more life.
Yeah. Additional life. Give them your life.
Come in with the trench coat. Here's extra life. Take
Kill
it.
yourself to save them.
Yes, exactly. Find them, Tom. It's always a pleasure. I'm glad that we woke you for this experience.
Oh yeah, I wasn't sleeping.
Yeah,
okay.
what time is it right now?
Tom's in Redmond right now.
10:20.
He's in the tunnels. Are there tunnels there? I'm assuming there's tunnels. Let's move on. Tom, I love you.
Okay, thanks guys.
All right. What's next?
Well, do you want to talk about the Apple HTC stuff before we move on? That's the other big story that happened this week.
Okay, I have 3 things to say about it. We don't have to dwell on it.
Right.
Okay, so Apple and HTC settled their patent lawsuit. This is great. Great news for the industry. It has nothing to do with what Apple's going to do with Samsung. Not at all. You know why? Samsung has all these like standards essential patents on like 3G and Wi-Fi and all this stuff, and so does Motorola. HTC doesn't have those. Also, Samsung is rich. HTC is not. So like HTC needs to pay the money and like move on, and Apple's like, all we've ever wanted is money. And that's what they will say over and over and over again. We just want to settle these lawsuits. Tim Cook has been saying it. All this thermonuclear stuff with Steve Jobs is like, that is a front. You know what companies want to do? They want to not be in court. You know why? Because in court you can lose. Apple, like, we talked about this a lot. Like, I bought a really good case against Samsung, like, once in a lifetime, once in a generation set of facts. Like, here's 3 different 100-page binders of Samsung being like, that's what the iPhone looks like. That's what our phone should look like. HTC doesn't have those. Like, they go to trial and go in front of a jury, they could lose. Everybody wants to settle. And lastly, I don't think this proves that Apple's like changing its strategy towards Android or patents or any of this. I think these things are just winding their way to their natural end results. And the fact that Apple and Samsung...
time is passing.
Time is passing. Like, you know what 70 to 80% of court cases do? They settle. You know what Apple and Samsung should have done? They should have settled. You know what smart companies do? They settle their differences and move on.
Well, wait. Samsung should have settled.
Apple and Samsung, even though Apple won...
You think Apple would be in a better place right now if it had settled with Samsung?
Apple and Samsung would both be in a better place if they had settled. They would have freedom of action.
And
right?
was it both
That's what you want out of the end of a patent lawsuit. You want to shift resources. You say, I made this much stuff and you made this much stuff and we both sued each other over copying, and the balance of it is we figured out I owe you $6. Right? That's like it. That's what you want to do. And the HTC did that. And you know what HTC can do now? They have a licensed Apple's patents. So they can use slide to unlock, and they can do all this other crap. And it's called freedom of action. They can just do stuff without Apple suing them. You know what Samsung can't do? Stuff.
Oh, no. It sucks for Samsung, but why is that bad for Apple?
Because Apple has the same problems.
Samsung?
Apple doesn't have freedom of action in Samsung either. Right? I mean, like, there are more lawsuits in the world that Samsung has filed against Apple. Apple could lose them. It's possible.
And we've seen Apple lose a few.
They didn't make an agreement and say, okay, you can use our stuff if we can use your stuff.
Right.
Because they didn't do that.
Apple won this like victory that's going to be appealed and then appealed again and then maybe retry. You know, like, great, you won. You won the battle. It was very exciting. You know, the jury foreman might have been like on crack, and who knows, right? It doesn't matter. Like, the HTC outcome is better for the world because they can both go off and do stuff. And that's really all any of these companies should have ever done. They should all be settling with each other so they can make better stuff. And then people can stop writing me angry letters about the patent system when I say, because it's a good thing in the world that Apple invented a stack of stuff this high and HTC invented a stack of stuff this high, and they were like, you owe me $6. Like, that's good. That's a good outcome.
Well, 2 things to that. 1, people are not going to stop writing you angry letters.
No,
They're just going to change the subject matter. Number 2, who's being the more hot-headed
You know what
here?
sucks? Android. No, I'm kidding.
You can't even try to get away
just
from the patent anger.
I just trolled you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Like who's being hot-headed here? Is it Apple? Is it Samsung? Is it both?
Both of them. No, they're both jerks.
Neither one of them
both of them should be fired in the name of collaboration. No, they're both. I mean, they're both like really hot-headed, and I think Samsung makes a lot of money selling Android devices, and I think Apple wants to crush that in some way.
So neither of them want to settle at all. It's both of them just being.
If they
dicks.
did, they would have. I think those two are going to fight for a long time. But I always predicted with all these cases they would settle because that's Apple. Look, Apple filed 4 lawsuits. They've been involved in 4 lawsuits. Nokia, Samsung, Motorola, HTC. They've 2 of them.
Yeah.
And one of them, Samsung is like 1. But they settled with Nokia. They settled with HTC.
Right.
Motorola is now part of Google, and Samsung is like Android. So they've got to figure out that balance. Yeah. But they will.
Yeah, I was saying, what is your prediction for the Motorola stuff? Because now it's Apple versus Google.
So Motorola is actually in just so deep in the weeds, but Motorola and Microsoft are in the middle of a trial this week to determine what the appropriate license rates for the standard essential patents are.
Okay.
And after that changes, then everything else will change.
Sounds good.
But that is like, people are like, why aren't you covering this trial? It's because it makes me sleepy. It is so boring. And like we're covering it, like we're watching it. Matt and Brian and I are like, we're there, we're like aware of it.
But you're tired.
But it's just
You
like
brought a pillow.
here are some words that we're going to use to cover this trial. FRAND, Standards Essential Patent, or SEPs. Yeah, and it's like no, or effective license rates, statutory damages. None of those words are good.
I like FRAND. I like statutory is always entertaining.
Let's be friends.
Will you be my friend?
I'm fired.
This is like statutory friendness right
We're done.
here. Yeah, so let's move on.
That was Nilay's patent minute for the day. Angry, ranty patent minute
that
for
was
the day.
a long-ass minute. All right, we're on to the last topic of the day. It's the big one. It's the war for TV.
The war for TV.
There's a war going on, so I hear.
I thought it was war against. What is it?
It's a war for TV. So you don't know what's
TV.
going on our website.
I've heard. I
heard
just hear the
rumblings.
word ecosystem.
Ecosystem.
That's it.
I will say this started out in a very different way. So if you look on The Verge this week, which you can't do, Paul, but trust me, imagine this in your mind. This started out as, man, all these companies, and you actually wrote about this, how they're all building ecosystems. And they're building these self-contained worlds that you can live in. And we talk about it all the time. And it was like, we should just do a comparative review series. Right? What is it like to only use an Apple TV? What is it like to only use Google? What is it like to only use an Xbox, PS3, whatever? And we started doing that, and that turned into it literally exploded into, holy crap, everything about TV sucks, which is true. And it's so blindingly true. It's like, it's such a universal truth that nobody pays attention to it. And it's like, why don't you pay attention to it? The industry keeps building pieces of junk to put under your TV. But nobody ever builds like a unified product.
It's an interface. Like if you get so used to some frustrating element, it just becomes second nature. You just let it go. You stop thinking about it.
I just saw an ad for a Bang & Olufsen TV that says it's got a slot that you can put your Apple TV inside of it.
Yeah, right. It's like, what? What is that nonsense? So it has exploded into an entire week's worth of coverage that we call the war for TV, and it's like
all based on this one editorial I wrote. That's incredible.
You're my inspiration.
I know.
You're the one beneath my wings.
Yep.
Here's some other stuff. It's so disturbing. Give me the emo face again. Before the show started,
emo face?
Paul did some emo hairbang stuff with me. It was good. Oh my god.
All right, look at that camera right there. No.
Oh, to the camera. I don't know if I can do the camera. Nilay's really my muse here.
God, it's so good. I mean, I don't know if it's disturbing or sexy or sexually disturbing or sex-disturbing.
What I hope to be someday is the Jared Leto of tech journalism.
I think you already are in many ways. Let's be clear. We've been exploring. So we talked to, the huge list of stuff we've done.
Right.
So we have the reviews of all the ecosystems. The Apple one went up today. We started the week off with Microsoft and Google. We did Amazon yesterday. Tomorrow, poor Brian Bishop, he just bought every weird independent alternate thing that you can buy and tried to use them all at once. So he had a Boxy Box and a Western Digital TV Plus.
Yeah.
Which we're characterizing as the independents, but it's really the anarchy group.
Right.
It's the you definitely pirate all your shows like group. Like it's that one.
It's fun to talk to some because you don't see it like it's not as much in the main. You don't see a press release for the best new way to pirate stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
But every once in a while you can
Oh,
talk
my
to
God.
somebody like, dude, every time a new episode of this show comes out, it's like downloaded to the thing.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
like, and look, now I can watch it on my phone.
No,
right
we
now.
have this forum thread that we started yesterday called "How Do You Watch TV?" Right, and like, what's amazing to me about it is not one person was like, "I have a cable box." It was like, I have a cable box, but I also have a media streamer. I run a Usenet site that like pirates all my shows. And it's like everybody has these bonkers ways of watching TV. And like even mine, which I thought was like very basic, like as I started to write it down, like what I do, I'm like, this is dumb.
Hold on,
Like,
I want to find a. Actually, I think John Lago Marcino, one of our producers,
Yeah.
on the video side.
No, there's one where they're like talking about some software that I've never even heard of, where it's like the dude's like, I was hoping for another like, I don't know, it had some dumb name, but I was hoping for another user of this software that like, my God, it's the best stuff. And it's like, it does exactly what you're talking about. It automatically torrents to like a NAS box, and then the NAS box like sends it in there. Like Evan Rogers, one of our writers, is talking about building a VPN tunnel to like hack a sling box from his parents' house. It's like, all of this is crazy. None of this is like the
what
right
it all
thing.
leads to is that all of that stuff will ultimately send an email to your parents with a link so that they can watch CSI.
That's like all they want to do.
They can't figure out how to use their TV because it has like a touchscreen interface
All right, so
now.
can we put up? Let's put up the number. I want to talk to the people about how they watch television. I think it's fascinating to me that nobody, at least. I know there are people in America who just have a cable box or an antenna, but none of our readers are like satisfied with the single experience watching television. And we have a lot of cord cutters too who are doing bonkers things.
Do you still have cable?
I do.
Okay,
We
I
have
got
like a
cord
lot of
years
cable.
ago. You do?
Yeah,
You've got like NFL cable.
it's not that far. No, I pay for all the movie channels. Like
Wow.
we watch movie. Like I would, if I could just pay for the major networks, Bravo. Becky watches a lot of Bravo, MTV because, I like.
You're talking about the
And
all
like Turner Classic Movies.
No, not that. I don't want any of that junk. I want the networks. I want like 4 cable channels and a bunch of movie channels and like NFL Red Zone, and that's it.
I remember the journey like way back when they kept talking Congress.
very
too,
happy.
Like, the a la carte option. Why can't we just get the channels we want?
Right, and it's because like Discovery 16, which is like the Discovery Channel that only shows you like how extremely boring things are made. Like this is how knitting needles are produced. Like, it's like that has to be subsidized by all these other things.
It wasn't like that was part of the AMC dispute too. It was like we want you to carry AMC, but also like IFC and like the 6 other channels that don't do shit for traffic.
Traffic. I like that your mind is so warped by the internet.
I'm sorry. The number that makes money.
Yeah, whatever that number is. No, I mean like that's a thing, and I talked to TV manufacturers. I think our interview with Vizio's Matt McRae is up today, and he's like, I don't want to build any of this stuff. What I want to do, like the future of television is you buy a series of screens in different sizes in your life, and they all connect to the internet, and you type in like your information, and then you watch TV on them. And like whether it's a battery-powered phone in your hand or a thing that you plug in the wall, and that's called a television, that's all you need. Like I don't want all these boxes. We ran a report on remotes today. Why do remotes suck? Because you can't sell somebody a remote that can't control a cable box.
Yeah.
And so that automatically means you have to have like a number pad and an IR blaster. And so now that's what remotes look like. And they just haven't moved. Like Logitech's been building the Harmony One. My Harmony One is a piece. Like I don't know how remote software gets corrupted and slow, but it's like I installed Windows 98 on it and I just left it alone. Like it's like it has macros and the macros like watch TV and it's like maybe you're gonna watch TV.
Every time I go into somebody's house and they have a remote that has an LCD on it, I like feel bad for them because I can visualize in my head that person spent a day, but probably a weekend, maybe 2 weekends. Figuring that out.
No, somebody tweeted me today,
and now it doesn't work. I just want to turn on their Xbox, and it doesn't work.
Chris's story, about remotes. I tweeted out, and I was like, "Why do remotes suck?" And then I put the link, and like somebody wrote back to me. It's like, "Remotes don't suck. My remote, I press ESPN, and it's ESPN turns on."
You have an ESPN button?
You can program a Harmony One to have the logo.
Oh, yeah, right.
And it's like, yeah, that's great, but that works. I guarantee you that works 90% of the time. And there's 10% of the time when it's like the cable box blinks out, or like the sun shined on your IR blaster and it didn't work, or like you had to sit there for a day using like Logitech's hardware software is the worst software.
When you first start making IR blasters, shouldn't you realize there's something wrong with you? Like,
Well, I mean,
as a person who develops this, even, it's like, we just should be a better way.
They all want it. Like, that's the thing. If you talk to them, you talk to everybody in the industry, they're like, we don't want to build that.
Right.
Like, we want to do anything but build that thing, but they can't survive without the cable box. So they have to control the cable box. The only way to control the cable box is an IR blaster. And the cable company's like, yep, that's right. Try to control me, use, and it's like they know that they're the choke point of the entire, and it's like, how do you break through that? And so we talked to I talked to NBC, and like Vivian Schiller is the chief digital officer of NBC News. So straight up was like, yeah, we can't wreck our business model, because if we wreck our business model, we won't be in the business of making news. And it's like, well, that sucks. And I was like, so why is it that you'll broadcast NBC to me over the air, but you won't stream it to me over the internet? And she's like, well, a lot of our business model has to do with like cable and satellite operators.
Right.
It's like, well, what? Just sell it to me or do something. And it's like they're just not ready.
You get like the blackouts from the local providers and stuff like that. Like I'm an utter idiot, and last year I bought some NBA thing that lets you watch NBA games.
Yeah.
Guess what NBA games you can't watch?
The next games.
The local ones.
Yeah.
The ones that you want to watch.
All right. But it's like really weird. It's this incredibly strange form of restricting competition. It's not even, it's like you don't want to compete with yourself.
Right.
Because there's like a better way for you to make money. And it's like, it's very frustrating. All right, I'm going to take a call. Who is this person? Hello. It's the Vergecast.
Yes, hello.
Who are you?
Nilay.
Hey.
You're Nilay?
What's
Congratulations.
up, guys? How are you?
I'm doing well. Are you Nilay too? That would be very strange.
No, I knew it was you when you picked up.
That's because you called me.
Who are you?
Who are you expecting when you called?
No, who are you?
I had just been put on hold. I had no idea. But what's going on, guys? Congratulations on a great year.
Thank you very much. What is your name?
We're trying to figure out who you are.
My name's Paul. I'm calling from Phoenix.
Paul. Okay,
Paul.
Cool.
Actual Paul, yes.
Paul. Which one are
Another
you?
Paul, yeah.
Oh, so
not another Nilay, another Paul.
Okay, good. It's good. There can
Figure it out. Thanks for calling.
Because I was about to do some Highlander shit. How do you watch TV?
Two ways: DVR and through the Xbox. And one thing I read all you guys' editorials. I shouldn't say all of them. I read the Microsoft one.
Thank you.
Avner Ronan seems to really be on top of his crap, obviously, because he's in the business. But I agree with him. I mean, we're just looking for something to sit down and turn on immediately. Even when I go on the Xbox, I got to wait 2 minutes before I can get to TV.
It's a long time. Yeah. Now, are you watching a TV app on the Xbox? Like, I have the Fios TV app on my Xbox, and it's like, now I'm going to wait 20 minutes.
Fios in Phoenix.
So, but you're using another provider app, I'm guessing?
Yeah, I use Netflix, ESPN, the NBA app.
So
like
you have cable also.
That sucks is you got to get out of one app and then into the other app. I mean, that's kind of a pain in the butt. It's not as easy as just sitting and flipping channels.
And here's the thing that kills me about the thing like the ESPN app. It's like you can get all the games through your Xbox and ESPN, but you have to have a cable contract already. Like it's already available on another channel. They're just giving you the option of using it through the Xbox. Right. Which is bullshit.
I mean,
so we're in this weird period where I think it's the old guard and the new guard, and eventually I know internet TV is going to win out, but these companies are having a real hard time letting go of their stranglehold on the way TV works. And we have Cox Communications out here. It's the same crap. I mean, Fios is kind of onto something, but Cox is pulling the same crap that AT&T is pulling, which is that this is ours and we don't want to be a dumb tube.
Yeah. My idea, I really want to make T-shirts that say you're a dumb pipe. That's all they say. And
it's not going to go down well.
I just wear it like, dear industry, you are a dumb pipe. Love the Verge. I don't know why I don't make them. Everybody would buy them.
I think someone is now making it right now.
Somebody asked me a question today.
Everybody would buy that. No, I do actually think that the problem is that not everybody would buy that. Like, it took me 15 minutes to explain to my friend why he cannot buy episodes of Game of Thrones while they come out.
Yeah.
Like, it's a very difficult conversation. Like, you have to set up a lot of Prepositions.
Propositions.
I think HBO is
Propositions.
interesting because HBO knows our money comes from the cable companies. If we went online, we could maybe get the same number of viewership, so it's not the same amount of money.
Right. So wait, Paul, this Paul.
Yeah. I've got a question for him too.
You've already cut the cord. My
That's
question to
Phone Paul.
phone Paul, what would get you to cut the cord?
I mean, that's a great question. I mean, I think there's a lack of decent programming on the IP solutions right now. I mean, there's no Food TV, Fox Sports locally, the local channels, MTV. I mean, these are all things that I don't think we're ever going to get a chance to see on these over-the-top boxes until something's worked out contractually. Same with HBO.
Yeah.
What's your dream scenario? You turn on your TV and there's like a text box or
it's a command line.
Yeah, I mean that's a great question.
My.
I don't
Is
even
it
know
the
that
C
there's a
colon
good answer for
backslash?
that. Yeah, I mean, ideally, it's going to be basically an Xbox that powers up as quickly as our cable box does, which is basically instantaneous, and then you can select your programming and flip through the other programs the same way you would on a TV.
So like a multitasking
Xbox.
Xbox.
Yeah, I mean that's my dream
And there would
too.
be a level of interactivity with the shows, and that's where having IPTV, I think, really comes into play. And I had a question for you guys because you guys have amazing access. Is this going to happen anytime soon?
It's like, how can I describe this? I'm going to use a metaphor for that I used to describe my friend not picking up a girl the other night. It's like watching two cars not hit each other. Like everyone, like they know, like they're all tense behind the wheel. They're like aimed at each other. They've got like their foot on the gas, and then they just like in the night. And like it's like why. They all know, like everybody that I've talked to, and I've been talking to a ton of people, they all know it has to come. Like, if you, and this is like a random story, but the end of the Steve Jobs autobiography describes sort of his last few months, and he watched a lot of television. And the idea of Steve Jobs like using a Comcast remote is like insane. But then it's like you don't even have to go that far. You can think about Brian Roberts, who is the billionaire CEO of Comcast, and he's got his own product in his house, right? Yeah. Do you think he's like, this is great, this is what we should make all the time, or maybe he's just too busy and he doesn't watch TV? It's like nobody's happy about it. Nobody's happy about the cable box remote. I don't think Cox Communications, I don't think Verizon, I don't think they want to keep shipping Motorola cable boxes with hard drives in them to people. I think everybody recognizes that it's better to have the server farm full of content and use the broadband pipes to send the content to people when they want it, and there's new business models that will emerge. But everybody's also way too afraid of not having HBO because they couldn't figure out how to pay for it. They're way too afraid of not having like network sitcoms because they can't figure out how to pay for it. And that stuff is important. And I think there's like the greedy bastards who are like, we want to protect the money. And then there's like also this entire class of like TV content creators who are like, we need to protect the culture. And this is how the greedy bastards pay for the culture. So we're also like afraid of this. And they're like, on top of it, they want to eat. So there's just, I mean, it's literally like they're just ships passing in the night. It's like all the gadget makers are like, this is what we should do. And like they can whip up amazing demos of like integrated interfaces. And the TV people are like, that's great. We should make that. How are you going to pay for it? Everyone's like, and there's just this pause and then nothing happens. And we all still have cable boxes.
Well, Netflix.
Maybe Google's got the answer.
So here's the thing about Google.
Google so clearly doesn't understand. They understand not twice.
The thing about Google, and like they just launched in Kansas City, which is great timing because they're running ecosystem.
Oh no, they don't understand 3 times.
Yeah,
Google TV, and it's like what is the Nexus Q?
The Nexus Q and Google
now,
Fiber.
Man,
so the thing about Google TV is like Google TV is like the ultimate. It's like there was a nerd at Google who had like the Western Digital box and like a universal remote. And he's like, let's build that, but make it run Android. And it's like, that is a bad idea. And so they built essentially like the consumer grade HTPC. It's a bad idea. The Nexus Q is like, that is just like a question mark. Like attached to a bomb, It's
made in America.
Like it's like I don't know what the hell that is. Yeah. It's beautiful. Everybody, Everybody that I've talked to
so
is
beautiful.
the Nexus Q has come up in like 15 conversations I've had during these interviews, and everyone has said the exact same thing. It's beautiful, but what the hell does it do? It's anyway. And then Google Fiber, and if you look at Google Fiber, which is arguably the most interesting thing Google is doing, will be the most successful. And it's crazy things are happening on Google Fiber in Kansas City because people have access to bandwidth. There's like a startup scene that's flourishing around it.
Successful by what metric?
It's a real product that you can like use and not want to cut yourself. Is that a good metric?
I mean, is it something? Is it we've had this before? Is this a business Google actually wants to enter, or is it just an experiment?
I mean, it's a successful product in that it's from like end to end, like works well and is there and is the product.
But it's the cable model.
But it's a cable. So yeah. So but then it's like everything about it's like radically different and new, right? It's crazy bandwidth and like we'll put a 2 terabyte server attached to it, and then there's like, but how do you buy TV? The same way that you buy it from Comcast. And that doesn't make any sense.
I feel like the only company that is actually doing this is Netflix. I think Netflix is absolutely far and away.
Yeah.
Like, what are they, like 40%?
I'm gonna hang up on you. We have another call here. You know what? I want somebody to call us. Thank you very much for calling in.
Good luck.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. I was hoping we'd go for a third round with Fun Paul. I want somebody to call us who only uses Netflix.
Yeah.
We had a few people like that in our, and I want to know what that experience is like. There's another call here that's waiting. We'll get to in a second. What were you going to say?
Netflix.
You were going to talk about Netflix.
I mean, Netflix is. I mean, for one, they are trying to do original content, right? But also, I've heard 40% of internet traffic is Netflix.
It's 40 or 50. It's some bonkers.
It's obviously
number.
The thing is that's what people are watching. Like at night, like don't call it TV, but like at night when you sit down on your couch and want to watch something, and instead of turning on your TV and watching Frasier reruns, you turn on your TV and watch some random old movie on Netflix.
Yeah,
that is TV now.
And like Netflix is also an example of a different fundamental shift in how we do TV. Like it's not just stream live. When it comes on 9 o'clock, we're watching it. No, Netflix is like when they do the original series, it's every episode of the season all at once.
Right. So
that's a smart. That's its own story, and that's a really important smart shift.
I'm going to take this. This is another. This is not the Netflix call. Hello, you're on the Vergecast.
Okay.
Cool.
What's up?
Hi, I'm Haru.
There you go. Hi, this is Nilay. What's your name?
Hey, Haru.
We have a crazy delay. Is that what's going on here?
I think so.
You have a what?
All right. I think we have a really bad delay, so I'm going to suggest that you try to call back in again. I'm sorry. I'm just sorry. We're breaking up.
I think I can hear you now.
Wait. Now, if this works now after I hung up on you.
No, I think that's maybe a ghost. No.
I can hear you now. Yeah.
Hello.
Oh, hey.
Hi.
Okay. What's your name?
Hey, Haru.
Your name's Haru.
Yep.
Okay. How's it going, Haru? How do you watch television?
Well, I am a college student, and I pretty much just use Hulu and, whatever website that the show comes on, and a little bit of Pirate Bay.
A little bit. You like dabble in the Pirate Bay.
Pirate Bay on the side.
You like snorkel in. You like leave. When you? Okay.
So wait, is Hulu and not Netflix?
Well, no, I don't use Netflix because it doesn't come out with the shows that I watch, like,
Right, Hulu is like the next day.
Like old stuff.
Right. So, but Hulu is mostly like broadcast content, right? I mean, that's like network stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep.
The cable stuff, you're like when it's Mad Men time, you're swimming in the Pirate Bay.
Like Game of Thrones.
I was gonna say Game of Thrones.
It's Game of Thrones, the most pirated show in the world.
Yep.
I could have told you that stat with never reading it anymore.
Without having been on the internet for 6 months.
With 100% certainty.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. So you pay how much? You pay like $8 a month for Hulu.
Right.
So right, that's how much it is.
Hulu Plus, but you get the free version.
Are you
too.
Hulu Plus?
Hulu Plus.
So
I have it on my Xbox.
Okay, so you're paying I think it's like $8 a month for Hulu Plus. How much more would you pay for Hulu Plus if it had Game of Thrones and like Mad Men and like whatever cable shows that you're stealing?
A lot. I'd probably pay $15 a month.
Would you pay? Let me ask you a question.
More.
Would you pay 30?
30 is a bit much. That's
30 is a
more
bit
like
much. Would you pay?
I don't want to sound like an old person, but when he said a lot and then said $15, I don't really think that's a lot.
Well, no. So I just want to keep.
I'm not trying to criticize you. I'm just letting you know there's a.
As a college student, like all of my peers and most people are not, going to pay $30 a month to watch TV here at school. Most people are just now starting to learn Pirate Bay. I think probably by the next generation, people are really going to put up with that. They're probably going to start heading.
How many of your friends at school have cable?
I mean, my school gives us cable, so I can just go watch the show. But most of the time, I'm going to watch it on my laptop.
Have you done that, though? Do you use the cable at all?
Oh, yeah. I saw The Walking Dead the other day. But
you're walking by. You're like, that guy's got cable. So the reason I was asking the pricing question is because basic cable service generally costs somewhere between $24 and $30 a month. And it's amazing to me that you're like, I'll pay around $15 a month. I'm assuming you'd pay like $20 a month. But the idea of actually using that money to pay for cable is like, I've heard this a lot. I'm not just pinning this on you. I've heard this a lot. The idea of taking that money and then putting it towards cable is like out of the question.
Well, it's also important to know he wants to watch it on his laptop. I mean, the thing about cable is that dictates one device that you get that on.
Yeah.
Which there's not a lot of other content.
And you have to have a TV.
Like imagine there was a web page. Imagine we made the Verge.com, but it was only designed for one type of device.
We already have.
Yeah.
Have you, you've never been to GameBoyVerge.com?
No, but the other thing is, too, like, the $23 you mentioned, that's for the basic cable. He's talking about getting Game of Thrones. You got to put the premium package on top of that.
Yeah.
The HBO package on top
Yeah,
of
you
that.
got to get the Homeland. You got to get the Game of Thrones. You got to get Showtime.
So it's like you're talking a much bigger figure than just
is more money.
Right. I mean, I just think it's fat. I mean, I hear like I'm saying, I've heard this a lot, where it's like I would spend more than I'm spending on Hulu or Netflix, and maybe double, maybe even. I've heard people say they'd be happy spending $30 a month, but they don't want to spend it on cable because they think that is a bad product.
Well, so here's a better question: who at your school gets Game of Thrones on cable?
I mean,
do you have any of your friends?
The school has HBO, but I don't think I know anyone who's actually gonna.
Wait, this is bonkers to me.
Your school has HBO.
Like, you realize that what you should do is you should go to Best Buy. You should buy like a $200 PC and put a tuner card into it, and then you will be the king of your school because you will run what's your name? Huru? You'll run Huru flicks.
Huru.
Out of your dorm room.
No,
and I'm not saying
you get a sling box and you go door to door.
Police coming to get me.
No. Let me tell you a story.
Get a sling box. Go door to door. Anybody that's not actually using their cable, plug a sling box into it, and then rent out that sling box to somebody desperate for television.
You know, one of my first moves at college was to open the ceilings up and steal cable for everyone.
Wow. Okay.
I had a drill. I drilled my wife, Becky, she was my next door neighbor, and I drilled into her wall from outside so he could run the coax cable into.
Yep.
It was love at first.
It was love and an 8-year delay. She's like, "Thank you for stealing cable from me a decade ago. We can finally date."
Right. No, it wasn't until you told her about Pirate Bay that she was finally ready to marry.
Can I just say that all of the work that you're talking about, like the drilling and stuff, is kind of like all the work I have to go through to pirate stuff. Like I would rather pay maybe $25, maybe $30 to just get everything that I wanted.
Yeah, your generation is lazy. Can I just say this? This is why you'll never get a job. Mm-hmm. No, I'm kidding. Wow. That's not true. I'm sorry. Wow. You will definitely get a job. Your job will be paying $25 to watch television. Is that a career? No, look, I don't think your generation is lazy. I think you're the future of America. I do. And you're going to find alternate ways for us to...
I think honestly, when my generation is in 5 years from now, there will not... people are just going to start pirating stuff. They're going to have to adapt and change.
Right, the market's changing. And this is something that I've heard and I've asked. What I'm hearing is kids... When I was in college, when I went and got an apartment, we called... I don't remember who we had, but we called the cable company and we got cable. and it was like it was like a rite of passage for like college students. Like we're all going to pay for cable together, right?
You wrote him a check.
We wrote him a check. It was very strange. And then I got on my horse with like paper books in my hand. It was and then we rode uphill both ways on my horse.
They mailed you a flip book of Howdy Doody every month.
Yeah, exactly. And then we sat around their black and white TV and marveled at Kennedy's speeches. None of that's true. But the industry is like, kids don't do that anymore. They're buying television, they're buying cable later, or they're not buying it at all. And so the advertisers, the protected revenue model that, we have to do everything to save television, it's like the 18 to 35-year-olds aren't there. Right. So it's like we're saving this revenue model for like old people watching 60 Minutes and like babies watching Sesame Street, and everyone in between is like out the door. And that's like and that's exactly, I mean, if your generation's going to save America, it's because you're pirating things, and they realize that it's true that the market is changing, and they have to respond to the market demand, and that's totally great. I mean, I don't think that you should run around thinking that stealing Homeland is an act of political defiance. That's not true. Now, but the market is changing in the broader way.
Is there an aspect where someone like myself, and if I'm imagining a younger me that
I imagine a younger you every day, Paul.
TV. I'm not trying to put this on other people. I'm just saying, would you rather spend 2 hours at your $15 an hour job, 2 hours a month to pay for your entertainment,
job,
or spend 2 hours a month pirating it? I feel like there's a lot of people that for a long time are going to still make the decision to put in the elbow grease to rip the cable out of the ceiling. Or whatever,
so let me ask you one more question.
To drill into walls.
And I really don't mean to put you on the spot as the voice.
Walls.
No. Go.
I don't want to. You're not the voice of the generation, or maybe you are. What the hell is going on out there? Okay, there's like all kinds of crashing and weird stuff that happened in the studio out there.
They're trying to steal cable.
They're trying to steal cable. Haru, if you could double your internet speed, how much would you pay?
I mean, I don't pay for internet at college.
Oh God! So you would double your tuition? No, but like,
how much tuition?
Whoa.
No, I mean like, just because that's what I'm hearing is that their bandwidth caps on data right now for most of the big providers. And they're saying that Comcast will be happy if you pay them more for data and you take away the revenue from television. And then Comcast still has to get over being a dumb pipe,
right?
But at least they're making the money back.
No, that's the phone company transition from minutes to dumb pipe.
So it's the exact same one, right? And that's why they're all doing tiered pricing. So would you pay more money for faster internet? Assuming that you're paying for internet in some way.
I mean, yeah, not dramatically much because I can stream everything fine. I don't really have a problem to the point where I'm like, man, I really wish I had faster internet.
He gets college internet.
I know. He's being in college so bad.
He steals stuff over college internet.
Unlimited internet, so.
Yeah. I just remember when...
Call back in like 5 years.
Yeah, call me back in 5 years. Call me back in 5 years when a 300 gig a month data cap hits you in the face.
We'll have a different conversation.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's really good talking to you. We're going to take another call. Don't get caught.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's be clear.
I'm probably going to get caught.
Well, call us from jail.
We're not getting bail.
Use your phone call. Use your one phone call.
Hello, you're on The Verge. The next person. Are you going to jail?
All right, well, it's really good talking to you. We're going to take another call. Don't get caught. All right.
Oh, my God.
You just called yourself.
It's just so weird.
No.
Turn down the volume.
You got to mute your computer.
Turn down the
or
volume.
whatever device that you're receiving it's over.
Hello?
Hi.
What's up?
What's your name?
My name is Rafi.
Rafi. Were you named after Rafi?
How old do you think he is?
I don't think so.
Okay. How do you watch television?
Well, actually, from about June, I discovered this service called Uno Telly or Uno Telly.
Oh, God.
And basically, it allows me to watch the American version of Netflix from Canada.
Oh, you're Canadian.
Oh.
Yeah,
Because Netflix in Canada is cheap, but it kind of sucks in terms of content. It
I've heard
like
this.
5 times less content than America.
Right.
And because I'm a student, I've been pretty busy, so watching shows is kind of like a reward system. And it hasn't been that bad, actually.
Yeah. So you're gamifying pirated Netflix.
I guess so. Well, actually, I used to download a ton of torrents, but it takes time, and I find that when I maximize the bandwidth used, it slows down my internet much more than Netflix does. Right?
What are you studying in college?
He's a Verge listener.
I know. It may not be engineering or mathematics.
Yeah. What's your major?
I have no major now, but I'm looking to go into computer science.
Okay, there you go.
Did that answer your question, Ross?
Yeah.
So you're saying when you torrents used up more of your bandwidth, but you're on college internet. Does that matter for you?
No, actually, I'm not on college internet.
Oh. Finally, real American in Canada.
Yeah. Well, I live at home. They throttle the internet at the university, so that's the best place to.
So do you have like a bandwidth cap?
Well,
So
I pay about $75 a month for 50 down and 5 up.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have a cap, but they never charge me extra. I go over it every now and then. I think I got about 300.
Yeah, 300 is pretty standard. But you actually worry that torrenting is using more of your bandwidth than streaming, so you're just streaming.
Well, for some reason, I mean, when I'm on my iPhone 5 and I'm streaming stuff on LTE, it definitely eats up a lot of my data.
Right.
But I'm not finding that to be the same from home.
Hey, let me ask you, they have Spotify in Canada, right? Let me ask you a totally off the wall question.
We don't have Spotify.
You
now.
don't. Do you have any streaming services?
We have Rdio. I use Rdio.
You use Rdio. Yeah. Do you pirate music now that you use Rdio?
No, I don't, and that's why I'm convinced that Apple has. They're definitely going to move into this space.
Right. Wait. Why? Well, you mean the streaming music space?
I mean, yeah, most people I know now are streaming music.
Yeah.
Some people are still use their iPods and download torrents. Most people that I know that still download are downloading stuff like FLAC files.
Yeah,
high.
Those are like the crazy people.
Right, but
those are like I have those friends too. They smoke like tons of weed.
Can I make
like,
a confession? I've paid money for FLAC files.
Yeah, I have to.
Wow.
I feel really dumb.
I know, me too, but I've done it.
Now I'm listening through the DA converter in my MacBook, and I can definitely hear like the fan spin up. It's terrible. It's like not worthwhile. Well, no. See, the reason I make that comparison is because you're doing this like mix of streaming and torrenting, but it sounds like for television. But it sounds like for music, Rdio's like has all the content you want. So you're like paying the fee, you're using the service. I doubt you worry about the bandwidth of Rdio usage.
Well, sounds like he's mostly.
No.
Are you? You spend most of your time now watching Netflix, though.
Yeah, when I have time, I do. Yeah, I just I open it up and I just play, right, and everything's queued up for me.
Right.
So it's nice and easy.
But
obviously, even though the one the Netflix for the U.S. version of Netflix is much nicer, there's still I'd like to have more content.
Yeah.
For sure.
But you mostly just watch what they give you because it's easier.
Although I followed, like I started watching that show Damages on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that sometimes when I download the HD torrent, it's just as good on Netflix. I mean, if you're watching on a 27-inch monitor, you're not going to tell the difference anyway.
Yeah.
Because I don't watch TV. Every now and then I turn on CNN or the news, but that's it.
Yeah. You shouldn't watch CNN for the news.
Yeah.
Wait, is that our American CNN or is that C stand for Canada?
I think it's international.
No.
The Canadian News Network.
No, that's right. Right.
Yeah, Canadian.
No, I'm teasing. You should educate yourself, youth of Canada. and then rise up and fight
Are
the
you
youth
going
of
to lecture
America.
every caller? It's
Yes.
like, oh, what do you do? This is what you should be doing.
I do think
They have to save us from ourselves.
it is really it's really easy for us to forget how hard it is to get most media legally out of the U.S.
Yeah, I will say this. We've had a lot of criticism this week that we've taken a very U.S.-centric approach.
We
to
do have
this.
a very large portion of our readership that is international.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously the hugest slice is in America, and then I think it's the UK is the next big one, and I want to say it's like Australia.
But here's the problem, guys. You are all one country.
Yeah.
And that's why nobody
You just have
makes anything
various
for you.
different riffs on the flag.
You used the wrong plugs. How can we help you if you keep using the wrong plugs?
I'm so sorry.
Wow.
Okay. No, the reason that we have this U.S.-centric approach is because it's not like GSM. There isn't like a world standard. It's not like Wi-Fi. There's like TV networks are like mutants. They all run on different things. You know, Avner, who makes the Boxy TV, was telling me that like every time they put the Boxy TV in a market, they have to like go and do testing on the signals over the air and the signals that come out of the cable networks because they're all like using slightly different variations of the standard because the expectation is that no one will ever do what they're trying to do. Right. That the cable company will give you their box and it's fine. And it's like, that sucks. You know, like, because there isn't, you can't like put a SIM card in a cable box, like, or whatever that would look like.
That's just insane to me, even like from a Comcast, because Comcast is in multiple states. They're not all using the same.
Yeah, but so Comcast, it's totally regional. Like, it's just this weird.
Like
Comcast exists because like a
so
company called
do.
Comcast bought 5,000 smaller cable operators. Like that's how Comcast grew. That's actually how AT&T grew as well. But like, at least they like AT&T is like, we want to build a national networks because you're going to take your phone with you. Right. Like Comcast does not believe you're going to like take your cable box with you to like the next town.
No.
Well, and this is just another reason that why a business model that is so married.
Caller, by the way, I'm hanging up on you. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I don't mean to just keep you on the line, but it was really
Good
nice
luck.
talking to you.
Good luck in
Enjoy
Canada.
Canada.
I think we need to start wrapping up anyway.
Yeah.
This whole model that's so tied to, you know, being buddies and like local markets and advertising and all these sorts of deals. I mean, like, you know, DVDs, for instance.
Yeah.
There's a show, The Trip. I watched a pirated version of it. I saw the movie version, which is kind of condensed, edited together in theaters.
Yeah.
Then the movie version showed up on Netflix. I could watch that. I cannot legally obtain a version of The Trip in the TV episode format unless I buy UK region DVDs.
Oh yes, the best DVDs.
That like but still.
What?
The DVDs of things are relatively well distributed because they aren't dependent on all these other like crazy dependencies.
Well, no,
like
so
if a new album comes out, it's pretty well distributed.
Right. Well, so there's like
the internet's just such a better model for it.
Well, it is and it isn't. I mean, so local markets like are a thing. You know, like you want to have a company that's like respondent to its consumers, like right there in the local market.
Right. Unlike The Verge.
Unlike The Verge. Because I will just ignore you. But no, you know what? Actually, the Verge is a good counter.
You should just be grateful that you can look at The Verge at all.
Send me $20 immediately. No, you know, The Verge, this is the exact comparison I was going to make, is you have like your local businesses that are respondent to you, right? And they... whatever, like, you know, people at the coffee shop don't like the coffee, they change the coffee or they go out of business and a new coffee shop shows up. Our local market is the internet, right? It's not like I really don't think about, well, we have a bunch of readers in the US and we have some readers in the UK. I think like we have a bunch of readers and they all come to our site and like we interact with them directly and we respond to them directly. But TV isn't built that way. And the big shift is for TV to think of its local market as the internet. But I don't even know if that's the right. I mean, that's one way of doing it. Is that the right answer? Like, can you make money that way? Because splitting the market up into thousands of splitting the country up into thousands of local markets has made them a ton of money.
Well, I mean, you can argue that's what Netflix has been doing. Just like their internet is their market, and like everyone's getting the same content, at least in this country. And they're going to do the original series, like House of Cards. They did the trailer for that today.
What's House?
Yeah, but what was the other Netflix series?
Sledgehammer,
Lilyhammer.
Lilyhammer, thank you.
It's not good.
No. I mean, but you know, let's look at House of Cards like this first.
Is Arrested Development out yet?
No, not yet.
What?
Arrested Development.
Isn't that show is over?
No. Netflix is bringing it back.
Nilay.
They're filming it now.
Where have you been?
Paul is offline. He knows
I thought they were making a movie.
This is like one of the biggest content deals ever.
Yeah.
is Netflix buying the rights to the lives of all of those actors.
They're making
and they're now indentured servants to Netflix.
Finally, Jason Bateman gets what he deserves.
Michael Cera's like licking Netflix envelopes right this minute.
Is that how that works?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. No, but you've got House of Cards, which is David Fincher and Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
Which is like a huge deal. They're making a big push out of it. Arrested Development. I mean, Netflix is trying to be that channel now. You know, they've done the reruns, they've done the A&E thing, they're going through that phase, and now they're trying the original content.
And I do think it sucks because again, the good shows subsidize the bad shows.
Yes.
But sometimes there's a crazy pilot that sounds bad, but that ends up being one of the good shows.
Yeah.
But I have to believe that Game of Thrones, if it was sold per episode in every market for $6 or $7 per episode.
But it is. You can go on iTunes and buy it. You just have to buy it late, right? Can't you buy it on iTunes?
No.
You can't right now. You can't buy last season's Game of Thrones.
I think
you might be able to buy last season's, but definitely not current episodes.
Once it comes out for season 3, it won't be during the run.
I can go to Best Buy and buy Blu-rays of last season of Louis C.K., but I can't see.
Yeah, I can go
season.
to Tower Records and buy laser discs of.
You can't. Tower Records is gone, man.
Well, I am. There's a wax recording.
Yeah,
of,
I can play a piano roll of the music of Game of Thrones. Okay, are we done? We have one more thing to say.
I want to say, but I want to keep to the Netflix thing just for one. Like, at what point do people start making TV shows and they're trying to get on NBC, they're trying to get CBS, and then Netflix is also bidding on these shows? At what point does Netflix start going after?
When Netflix has the money and the reach. I mean, that's the answer, right? I mean,
but is that their conclusion? Is that where they're going to?
I guess. I mean, when Netflix can pay all the actors and Friends $1 million an episode, yeah. But they can't do that right now. And the thing about that in all the popular network shows is you get to give the actors a raise because you're selling more expensive ads.
Right.
Netflix is still just making $8 a month.
They don't have a very fat margin, right?
Right.
They're very popular, but it's a slim margin.
And they've still got this DVD business, and that's.
So you have your Hulu Pluses in with the ads and the premium, but that's still internet ads are so cheap compared to TV.
Except for our ads.
Yes.
Billions.
I think there's something to the fact that one, Netflix is popular, clearly.
Yeah.
Two, it could get so much better. I can't imagine a cable box being better at being a cable box. I mean, there are a few tweaks I'd make to the UI and responsiveness, but ultimately that's a model and it's a broken model. Netflix, I think, clearly has a model that people want and people use, and they would like to have more stuff and have it quicker on there. But I
wrote a piece at the very beginning of the week where it's what the cable box is really good at? I don't have to make a decision. I just turn it on.
Yeah.
And it's there's a bunch of stuff, and it recorded some stuff from before and that I wanted, I specifically said I wanted. It has 500 channels of stuff that's on, and it's I can just show me something.
Right.
Netflix is I'm constantly making decisions.
Yep.
And that is exhausting. I don't want to TV is about entertainment, fundamentally, and decisions are not entertaining.
But also at the same time, I don't end up watching Everybody Loves Raymond on Netflix ever. And I'm happy.
Is that your standard of
grateful? That's when the day went bad when I watched Everybody Loves Raymond.
And that is the future that we're all looking to prevent. This has been the Vergecast. Please don't watch Everybody. No, doesn't everybody love that show? Isn't it called Everybody Loves Raymond?
It's a misnomer.
No, the problem with Everybody Loves Raymond is I do love Raymond.
I almost ended it by the way.
I do love Raymond, and nobody on that show loves Raymond.
Brendan was ready to push the button back there to end the show, and I just did. No. And he was like, "Ah, damn it." Sorry, man. All right, should we? Is there anything?
I just want to explain.
Do you or do you not love Raymond?
I love Raymond, but nobody on the show loves Raymond. His wife hates him. His kids don't respect him. His parents are constantly ruining his life.
You know
when I know his parents love him too much.
Do you know when I know my day has gone bad? When somebody explains Everybody Loves Raymond to me.
I was just saying.
All right, that's been the Vergecast. There are a number of ways. Thank you for watching this mess. And for the people who called, thank you very much. I'm sorry that we berated you. But children of the world, stay in school. Yes, Paul.
You know
I'm
where-
doing the president thing.
You know where my ecosystem fails me?
Yeah.
I used to watch Home Movies, the animated show on Netflix. Can't find that at Best Buy.
Oh, yeah, that's your ecosystem.
So that's my ecosystem, and it's broken.
Nice. Anyway, that's been the Vergecast. You can leave if you want to talk to us some more. I love hearing about how people watch TV. It's actually like a bizarre thing. It's I don't know who else I think this to. I've been talking to a lot of people this week, but what's really interesting to me is you can track what the Verge looks like, kind of with what phones and like our careers have tracked phones, basically, right? It's like I started writing about technology, smartphones exploded. There's been like this race to figure out what PCs are going to look like, and all that is because of phones. And I feel like that is like settled, right?
Yeah.
Like that curve is leveled off, and it's like this is kind of what a phone looks like. You know, we're going to make some changes, get a better screen, all the stuff, but this core idea is here. I think we kind of know what PCs are going to look like. They're going to start to look like more and more like tablets with some other stuff grafted on, and that curve is flattened out. I have no idea what TV is going to look like. It is, and everything is crap. And like, I don't want to.
Right.
Nobody has the answers. Not one of these ecosystems that we have tested out this week, these alternative delivery methods, is like perfect, and they all have like gaping holes.
Are any of them
huge
even
flaws? So Apple TV, I think is like. I think Ben liked it, but it's ridiculously expensive. Right. Ross, you really liked
I like
Xbox
Microsoft,
360.
but it's a clunky piece of hardware, and again, it's expensive. It's fees on top of fees.
Right. I mean, they're all like really expensive. And then Dieter thought Google TV was just an unmitigated disaster. And then Amazon is great, but like it's missing a bunch of stuff. Like all of them have flaws, like serious flaws.
I have always said when we did the Engadget podcast.
Yeah.
A constant topic of discussion for us is why doesn't this have Netflix on it?
Right.
And I feel like as we ended our time at Engadget, everything finally had Netflix on it. And now we're at the Verge and we're ready for what's new. And
right. Well, and I just think it's I mean this is clearly it. And when you look at the solutions that are on the market to like make TV better, they're all hacks on top of hacks in some way, right? It's
hacks
universal
on hacks.
Hacks on hacks on hacks. Like universal remotes are like super hacky. All the media streamer stuff is like kind of hacky. And I have a bunch of it in my house right now. I'm gonna have reviews of it all next week because the companies have been like throwing it at me since we started work. So I've got all this stuff and we'll have reviews, and I've been using it. I can tell you already that like it's the same. It's the way smartphones were before the iPhone. It's here's a bunch of good ideas, and here's like nerds will tell you this is the future. But if I handed this
and
to
the nerds are right.
And the nerds are right. But if I handed this to my mom, she would be like, what?
This is what I'm saying. Where we're headed is downloading shows from torrents, and then the box sends an email to your parents, and then they can watch CSI.
Well, think about it this way. When the iPhone came out, or now with Android phones, or whatever kind of intuitive touchscreen phones and tablets, there's all these videos of like babies who are like, they know how to use the tablet, right? Right. Nobody ever puts up a video of a baby who knows how to use the universal remote control. No one's ever like, this is the future. My baby has learned how to use this like crappy piece of junk. They're like, please put that down. Use the tablet.
I have my baby skip all my commercials for me.
Like, nobody thinks that's the future. It's like you know what, your baby is adapted to use a bad interface. But when they use iOS or Android or whatever, they're like, this is this child understands the future. And like those videos are on YouTube. And one day we're gonna watch those videos on TV in some other way, and it's gonna be this circle, and then the baby will know how to turn on the video of a baby using an iPhone. And then the babies will take over.
I think this is
That's
a great
been the
place to end.
Vergecast. Leave us in the comments how you're watching TV. I don't think you can call us, but you can tweet at me. I'm Reckless. Ross is Ono Roscoe without an E. Paul, what's your address?
P.O. Box 501, New York, New York, 10276.
We got to set up a Twitter to mail interface that like prints out into your directly into your P.O. box.
Please, nobody do that.
That would be amazing. I'm going to figure that out. I'm going to get the little printer guys. Anyway, that's been the Vergecast. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back next week with Josh, freshly rebooted.
Also on Tuesday.
Oh, on Tuesday it's on The Verge.
Yes.
All kinds of stuff is happening on The Verge. Ross, you're the man.
Yeah, on The Verge, next week we're going to have John Underkoffler. He's the guy who designed Minority Report and Iron Man's interfaces. He's actually doing it for real. So check out the lab. I went out to Los Angeles this week, did that. We're going to have an interview with him. We're sitting down with Thorsten Heinz, Research and Motion CEO, tomorrow.
Dieter and Chris and I were trying to work up some questions for him.
Yeah.
Actually, while I was on my way here.
How'd that go?
It's just very...
Right.
You don't want to be like, so how much longer do you think you have? You got
you put a timer. And there he goes. This is the death clock. This is you.
Yeah.
No.
So we came up with some good stuff for
and
Dieter
plenty
and
of fun surprises as always.
Yeah, as usual.
Yeah.
Paul,
Plenty of surprises.
Always.
Paul has a cooking segment.
Yeah. You know what happened to me this week? You know what happened this week?
God, this
I was going to go to a
Brendan,
Twilight.
man, again. Brendan backed all the way up.
I was going to go to a Twilight marathon, but I got the wrong day. So now I haven't seen Twilight yet. Although I think it comes out at midnight, but I don't really know.
I'm literally trying to feel sympathy.
I think it might be a whole week until I see Twilight.
Again, I think this emotion.
How does it end?
I don't even know how you would qualify.
How does it end?
Hungry? That makes me feel hungry. That's been the Vergecast, everyone. Thank you for listening and watching and doing whatever.
Rock and roll.
Paul.